Okay guys, welcome back for part 2 of our MagicQ Chamsys MagicQ training. It would be helpful if I got the manufacturer in there first and then the name of the software. So, last time we went over setting up the console and the programming keys up here in the upper right hand corner. Now we're going to look at the next set of programming keys, which actually have to do with the units and programming them. The bottom row are all unit controls. The top row are different ways to look at queues and queue stacks. So, first thing we're going to do is look at the group button. Click it, we go back over here to our main screen, and we see several groups of lights. We have all of our dimmers, all 24 of them. You can tell by the 24 in the upper right hand corner. And we have all of our techno beams. Again, by the number 4. So, when we look up here in the top corner, where you see that we're viewing the groups. If we want to look at everything individually, we click on View Heads, and now I see each dimmer, and when I scroll down, I see the 4 techno beams. For now, to keep things simple, we're going to work with the all groups. But I'm also going to begin to explain the concept of a palette. If you know what a palette is, you can probably skip ahead about 2 minutes in the recording. A palette is simply a collection of commands. Palettes will only record the type of commands they're set to record. In this case, they will record groups. So that, for instance, if we take dimmer 1 and dimmer 2, and I have to figure out how to select these one-handed because I don't have a convenient place for my tripod, so I'm going to have to do this one-handed to select multiple units. There we go. So now I have selected 2 dimmers, dimmer 1 and 2. Now I can do whatever I want to these dimmers. I can turn them on, I can turn them off. If they were moving lights, I could set their color, I could set gobos. It wouldn't matter because all this group will record, all this palette will record is a group. So, how do I do that? If we look down over here, in the record section, we see the record button. Click it. Click the space in the palette that you want to record, and there you go. You've recorded group 3, which has 2 dimmers in it. And you can name that whatever you would like that would be helpful to you to remember it. So, what groups do we normally record? Well, I normally record groups like odds and evens of the different types of units, of course all of them. If I have a rig that splits stage left and stage right, I'll record the stage left half of units and then the stage right half of units. Basically, the more groups that you can create, the more flexibility you have when you begin to program. For now, we're going to leave the all groups and work with those. But I would suggest you record as many groups as you can think would be helpful other than individual units as a group, because you can access those through the view heads. Okay? Now if I select dimmer, I have 2 controls up here that are useful, dimmer at 0 and dimmer at full. Instead of programming in the intensity by hand or using a scroller, I can use those 2 buttons. So, let's grab the dimmers. They're the easiest to operate. You just click on them. They only have one thing you can do. They can turn off or they can turn on. That's it. So we go down here to this little rotary fader. This is the intensity channel. Of course, it will register anything between 0 and 100%. In this case, there are multiple ways to operate this. I can click like that, and it will give me 100%. I can click again, it'll give me 50, and then 0. I can click down here and get 100, 50, and 0. I can also grab this and pull on it, and I can take it up and down by percentage points at a time. The other way to operate intensity for a unit is to have the unit selected as I do now, and then on the keyboard, enter the command @ and a number, and it will set those dimmers to 55%. That's how you control dimmers. Okay? Now, controlling moving lights is the same concept, you just have more constructs to use. So, we're going to grab the Techno Beams. We're going to go over here to where we looked at group. Now that's intensity. That simply gives you sliders for each of the dimmers that you can use to control their intensity. Personally, I would rather type letters or use the knob than to use the individual faders, but whatever you like. Effects is, of course, going to be effects that were recorded for the units. We haven't gone over that yet, so we're going to skip that one. Which brings us to position. We click position, we get the position palette. Now, this position palette gives us center, far left, far right, far up, far down, etc. If you want to know what these do, simply click on them, and then you can come down to the right, and you'll see the tilt and pan channel numbers. In this case, a value between 1 and 256. So we see that center puts tilt at 128 and puts pan at 128. For most moving heads, I say most, this will center the unit directly down, assuming the unit is hung in the downward orientation. Okay, I'm going to click up, and let's see what that does. 192 to 128. So that shifts the unit up on its tilt axis, but leaves its pan axis in the same place. Just as if we hit down, it goes to 64. Now, this is not an extreme position. We do have an extreme up position, 255 and 128. Now, keep in mind, up does not always refer to the direction up. It refers to the tilt channel, just as left and right refer to the pan channel. On moving heads, this can sometimes be a little confusing.